Are you withdrawing more than you're required to from your IRA? If so, you've got to watch out for a couple issues. I'll explain that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so are you withdrawing more from your IRA than you're required to? And you might say, well, that's sort of a silly question. Well, let me get into it, okay? For your pre-tax retirement accounts, your IRA and your pre-tax, your 401k, by the time you reach age 72, used to be 70 and a half, they're trying to push it to age 75, but right now the law is 72, you're required to draw out at least a minimum amount out of those pre-tax retirement accounts, out of your IRA, okay? So that's where the term required minimum distribution comes from. And oftentimes people look and they say, well, I haven't drawn anything out of my IRA, or I've only drawn this amount. And you've got to do that calculation each year based on the value of your IRA on 12/31 of the previous year. There's a divisor based on life expectancy tables, and that determines what your required minimum amount is. And if you haven't drawn that amount out, or you're not going to be able to based on monthly withdrawals, then you're going to have to take more out so that you withdraw at least that minimum amount out. Now, there is no required maximum distribution, right? So you could certainly take out a lot more than that, no problem. It's just the IRS has said, listen, these dollars you avoided tax on for too long. You might have contributed back into your 401k decades ago. We've never taxed this money. Or your employer may have matched into this account and you've never paid tax on this money. Time to pull some of that out, at least a certain amount, and so that it lands on your tax return and we can tax it. That's sort of the premise. Now, if you have a scenario where all of your retirement dollars, your entire retirement nest egg, is all pre-tax IRA. Serving a couple, they've got, I think they retired when he had about 1.6 million bucks. He was the primary breadwinner. She had a small IRA, but he had about 1.6 million. That was their entire nest egg, and it was all in an IRA. Well, no big deal. We've figured out when he retired, all right, how much do you need to draw from this every single month to supplement your Social Security to live the life that you want? And so that's what we started drawing. We made sure that worked for his financial plan. He started drawing that. That works just fine. By the time he reached age 72, we did that required minimum distribution calculation, as we do each and every year. And the amount that he's been withdrawing every single month is above that. So no problem. And really no option. But what if the circumstances are slightly different? And what if, to supplement your Social Security, you're drawing more out of your IRA above your required minimum distribution when you don't have to? So let me give you this scenario then. Just dealt with this recently, a couple weeks ago, right before the holidays, where a couple came in, new couple came in. They had about $1.5 million saved up, and they were drawing $4,000 a month out of the IRA to supplement Social Security. And that was plenty for them to live on. They actually save a little bit, and they like doing that, saving up. So then when there's a big expense, they don't need to worry about it. They were also withholding a lot for taxes because as he transitioned from work into retirement, he wasn't getting tax advice, wasn't getting tax planning, and so it was a nasty tax surprise, and they never want to go through that again. So they're withholding a lot from these IRA distributions. So they're taking a lot out of the IRA, $4,000 a month, to supplement their Social Security. That's more than what they need. They're stuffing a little bit more into cash because they really don't need that much, and they're withholding a lot because they're afraid of the tax boogeyman. And when we sat down with them and I looked at their taxes, talked about their goals, talked about what they needed for income, all that sort of stuff, we looked, and their required distribution, he was taking $4,000 a month out. His required minimum distribution was $25,000 for the year. So just over $2,000 a month, and he was taking $4,000. So what's the harm with that, you think? I mean, no big deal. This money is going to come out taxable at some point anyway. Here's the thing, in their retirement nest egg, they've got $500,000 that's just in a joint account that he received from selling some property a long, long time ago, and they're not touching that at all. In fact, they sort of go through their financial life thinking, well, I think we can live on just the IRA and not really touch these dollars, so let's do that. Well, guys, that's a significant problem because they're taking out about $15,000 every year more from their IRA than they're required to do. No biggie, but by taking that additional amount out, more of their Social Security is being taxed. You guys know the strange calculation as to which, well, is my Social Security taxable or not? And you look at all of your income sources plus half of your Social Security, and in this case, married couple, if that calculation is above $32,000, then some of your Social Security starts coming over, okay? And by the time it's, I believe, $44,000, half of your Social Security is included on your return, and up to 85% will eventually be included depending on what that calculation is. So the higher your income, plus half of your Social Security, the more of your Social Security is actually going to be taxed on your return. Well, guys, do the math here. You can probably see where I'm going with this. You add up their Social Security, the only other income that they have are these retirement withdrawals. If they're taking $4,000 a month, that's $48,000. That obviously means the majority or just about the maximum amount of their Social Security is landing on their tax return and being taxed. Compare that to if they just took the required amount out of the IRA, $25,000, and took the rest of the dollars that they needed out of that joint account. The withdrawals from the joint account wouldn't be taxable themselves. There's, interest and dividends a little bit that are happening on the return, but not a lot. But as you withdraw that means instead of $48,000 of income showing up on your return that's taxable from your IRA, only $25,000 would. And we did the calculation that would only mean about $3,000 of their Social Security would land on their tax return, and presto, they'd be in the 0% tax bracket. They could do that and reduce the taxes that they're paying by nearly $10,000. But wait, there's more. And I don't mean to sound like that person, but you can then, once we sort of demonstrated that opportunity to them, you could see their eyes light up and wow, we've been missing something. And we got to be careful not to point that out and have someone feel awful for doing it the way that they've done it for so many years, but instead say, well, you can't change the past. Let's move forward and make the right decision. But who wants to just stay in the 0% tax bracket? Well, me. Actually, we all do. But at some point, someone's going to be paying tax on this IRA. And if they don't receive it, or if they don't draw it out and pay the tax on it, then their kids will. And their kids have just 10 years to withdraw all the money and pay tax on it. That could mean that mom and dad these clients go from not paying any tax to all of a sudden the kids paying a lot of tax. So there could be a happy medium where after we draw the required minimum distribution, that $25,000, we then take a little bit and do a Roth conversion every year, even if it's just 5 or 10, just a little bit while we look and optimize the Social Security so that we can make sure that not too much of the Social Security is landing on the tax return, but that we're still planning for the future tax of those IRA dollars. So are you in a similar situation? Again, if you're set up where the only retirement, the only tax structure of your retirement nest egg is pre-tax, then you might just need to calculate, well, how much do I need to come out of the IRA to supplement Social Security and other income sources so that you've got the right lifestyle? And if that's the case and the plan fits, then there might not be a lot of opportunity other than lifestyle changes over time, and it's very possible you go from the go-go years to the slow-go years to the no-go years of retirement, and you realize, actually, I'm drawing out more from my IRA than I really need. It's piling up in the bank account. Maybe we should make some changes. And so work with the whole point here is whether this scenario lines up with your situation or it's slightly different, work with your certified financial planner on not only what the investment structure is, but also what the tax planning is, what your cash flow planning is, and what your retirement plan is. All of that is infused together, and your estate plan, by the way. Those are five of the 6 areas of financial planning that need to be considered and analyzed in order for you to make a great decision. That's why I always preach in every video, make sure you're doing comprehensive financial planning, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life as you make decisions so that you can bring synergy to your financial life and make great choices. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.